Hello, let's have a look how you can cycle animations in Kinefx. First, let's start with this simple example. Here we have just some skeleton and some simple animation, which goes from frame 1 to 48. And it's actually very simple. All you have to do is use motion clip and specify the frame range. Maybe if you imported the animation, you have this frame range. If not, you need to specify it. And maybe you also need to use the sample rate, I don't know. But this should be fine if you created your animation in Houdini. And after that, use the motion clip evaluate and set this end behavior to loop. So if I would create it from scratch, so let's create a motion clip, copy it here, set the frame range from 1 to 48, and now let's use the evaluate, motion clip evaluate, set this, now if you would have a look, it will just have this one loop and that's it. And if we set the end behavior to loop, we will get a continuous looping animation. So that's the first method. Now let's say you want to have more controls about your the cycles. So again, use the motion clip with frame range, and now you can use motion clip cycle, and here you can specify how many cycles before, after, and the type of the cycles. So for example, here we have one loop, so one animation. So if I would set it to 2 cycles after and go to this evaluate, we have 1, 2 and 3, and it stops. Whereas in here it will be continuously looping. So this could get very handy, and I will show you in the more complex example why. Here's a slightly more advanced example. And by the way, the model was inspired by designs of Alex J. Brady. So cool stuff, definitely check it out. So let's have a look what we have here. So the bird will do like 3 flaps, flap, 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 and then like a rest pose, and then continue to move forward, fly forward, flap, 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 and again some rest pose. For the most part, this is a standard setup. So we have geometry in here, we have some skeleton in here, so just one wing, mirror it over, and again the tail, using some orient joints, then parenting the wings to the body. So this is the skeleton, and here we have some skinning, delta mesh to make the animation, the deformation smoother. That's it. But for the most part, we are interested in this part. So here we have a simple animation, and notice I did only like one wing and body. In here I will mirror the animation to the other half, and here in here I have this other animation, like a rest pose where he doesn't flap his wings. Again, using some motion clip, specifying the frame range, because the animation is from 1 to 36. I'm having it, I said it's from 1 to 36. This one is 1 to 40. I'm using 2 cycles, and we're creating a motion clip sequence. So I'm basically stitching these 2 motion clips together, and I'm adding some more loops after this, which maybe in retrospect I could just disable and use this loop, and should work just fine, and loop the animations. 1, 2, 3 flaps, rest pose, and 1, 2, 3 flaps and a rest pose, and it works just as well. So this is an example where you can combine multiple animations, cycle some of them more times, some of them less times, and create this complex behavior with some simple animation. Another thing I want to show you, if you have this kind of animation, so it just goes up and nothing else. We specify the frame range 1 to 24, and now you set it to mirror odd cycles instead of by shifting between cycles. It will repeat the animation but like reverse it. So from one animation you can get a back and forth cycle. And notice like the odd animation, like the reversed one, also counts as one cycle. So for example, in here I have, this is like 24 frames, so this is 1 and 1, 2, 3, so 1 plus 2 is 3. So if I would want to have like 3 full repetitions, I need to set it to something like 5. So 5 plus 1 is 6. So we have 1, 2, 3. So just be aware that now a reversed cycle counts as a cycle. And as a bonus for my Patreons, I created this render setup in LOPS, so you can check that out as well. Alright, that's a wrap for this one. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.